Salvite discipuli. Here we are going over this simple translation review, and buckle up. Here we go. All right. Always look for the subject. That should jump out to you as nominative. Okay, the boy gave or was giving a rose to the girl. The boy was giving a rose to the girl, AE, dative singular. Number 2, Caesar jumps out to you as the subject. Caesar, here's your verb. You always want to go subject to verb, and it's got a rot, so you want to think pluperfect, and you want to think had. Caesar had seen, and then these two words go together. They both have accusative plural endings. Caesar had seen many enemies. Caesar had seen many enemies. All right, number 3, first word jumps out to you as a subject, the man. Now here's your verb. The 2-word verbs, the perfect passives, they're a little tricky. The man was killed or has been killed. Was killed is a little bit more comfortable. The man was killed, and then you have an ab. Whenever you have the passive voice, ab is used a lot. It's called the ablative of personal agent, and was killed by his wife. So suo is a reflexive adjective, and it reflects on whatever the subject is. I actually made a mistake here, and suo modifies wife, which is a feminine noun, so it should be a with the macron. So I'll fill that in later. All right, so the man was killed by his wife. All right, scientia, knowledge, and that should jump out to you. It's a first declension noun, so far we've had pretty easy subjects to identify. Knowledge, dokebater, knowledge was taught. All right, so it's imperfect and it's passive. So it's happening to the subject. The knowledge was taught or was being taught by the teacher. All right, number 5 starts with the verb. It's got ne, which means it's a question. So we kind of ignore that, and we want to look at this s right here. And the s is the u singular ending, and it's in the present tense. So, do you have money? Do you have money? All right, subject was in the verb. Do you have money? All right, number 6, canis. We didn't see this too much last year, but it's the noun for dog. It's nominative singular, so we can start with it. The dog, and here's your verb. That V should jump out to you as one of the perfect tenses. It's just the perfect tense. The dog loved or has loved. Now here, a little tricky, I put the infinitive in, and infinitives generally translate as to. So the dog loved to see that man. Okay, remember these little words? They mean either this or that. ILL means that, or in the plural of those. It's got um, which is accusative, matching up with the accusative on man. So the dog loved to see that man. The dog loved to see that man. All right, number 7, mia mater should jump out to you as nominative, my mother. There's your verb. Fecerat, it's got a pluperfect ending. So my mother had, now it's the verb to make or do, so you always need to entertain both and use the one that makes the most sense. We have dinner here, so she's probably making dinner. So my mother had made, and then these 2 words go together. And remember, when you're doing a sentence, sometimes it's effective if you can see that 2 endings are the same, especially an adjective and a noun. Put a little parentheses in so you can kind of visualize what goes together. My mother had made a good dinner. My mother had made a good dinner. All right, number 8 starts with in hoc bello. So that's a prepositional phrase. You can start with it, that's fine. In this war. So that comes from that Hickok chart. And in this war, many men, both nominative plural, had been. So that's from the verb to be. Fu is the third principal part. Fui is the third principal part of to be. So it's the pluperfect. In this war, many men had been, and then fortes from the adjective fortis for brave. So in this war, many men had been brave. Number 9 is a tricky one. So these first couple words are not nominative. Multos dias. So let's take a look at the verb. It's one of those two-word verbs. It's perfect passive. Sumus is where the subject lies. Sumus has to be we. So your subject is we. And it's the verb to fight. It's passive. So we were fought. Or we were, you can't say being fought. That would have to have an imperfect. So like you could say have been fought, but we were fought is fine. And then multos dias. So this is something we focused on in Latin too, especially for the National Latin exam. Dias is the word for day. It's an expression of time. So it's in the accusative, and that's called the accusative of duration of time. All right, a lot of technical words there, but in short, it translates as we were fought for many days. It's the extent of time. So we were fought for many days. A little bit awkward. Number 10, pretty straightforward. Now, the first couple words, they are not nominative, so you don't want to start with them. These are accusative endings. All right? So you look at your verb, and your verb ends in O. Anytime a Latin verb ends in O, it is the beginning of the present tense. The first person singular should translate as I. So I love, and then here we have our direct object. I love my sister, but, and then same structure. Accusative, accusative. So we want to look at the verb. But I do not love my brother. I love my sister, but I do not love my brother. Okay, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit subscribe. I hope you, this whole process is coming back to you. And Walite.